All right, Michael, can you hear me? Oh, sounds like we're running a little low on primer time hosts tonight. This is Michael and Nick. Michael's in and out. Nick is alive and well, and we have the Hurricane Harvey edition of Primer Time. We're going to try and get Michael back on the line. It seems like we've had some technical difficulties with the weather out there in Texas, allowing us to keep everybody going. So we're going to keep going with it. I know the this week we were wanting to talk about survival, not so much prepping, because the time for prepping is over. But we wanted to definitely go ahead and talk the survival stuff. It's interesting. A lot of people always talk about wanting to get water, food, uh, you know, things like that they can go ahead and take with them. In the meantime, you got to worry about shelter. You got to worry about fuel. You got to worry about all kinds of other stuff.
You
So,
gotta worry about cold beer and taking a shower.
oh my goodness, where did you come from?
Dude, I came from the land of the mud and the silt and the rain and the snow. Dude, I'm so sorry. I tried hooking up and this has got to be something. Nick, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for opening up. Man, what a fucking mess, eh?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I saw the pictures on Twitter of the floating fire ant colonies, and that brings back bad memories.
I wanted to go out and find them sons of bitches and dump diesel fuel and set them on fire.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing you can do to these things.
I am all for fire ant genocide. Kill
Yeah.
6 million sons of bitches.
I'll tell you what. The interesting thing is that they're it's a mechanism that's been observed in them ever since. Even there was a book, you might have read it in school a long time ago, called Lineagen versus the Ants, and it was about a businessman who goes down to South America, and basically what it is these ants just take over his plot of land on a plantation that he had for agriculture, and it happens during a flood where these ants get isolated, but they start using the bodies of the dead ants as a bridge to go ahead and get over to his high ground, and they just swarm.
I'll be straight up honest. I've seen balls of ants floating in moving water. Not down here, luckily. Right now, it's a mess down here, and I can step outside and I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but there's several generators running in this area. I'm working off of battery power tonight. There is no electricity down here. I am
Well,
lucky because my house actually has running water. I am very lucky. I took my first shower today since Friday. I took my last shower Friday at 9 a.m. It is now Tuesday at 9 p.m. And I feel like $1,000,000 after having a lukewarm shower.
oh yeah, it's amazing when you get that first shower after you've been out in the suck for a couple days. It's like you're
Oh,
almost a new person.
isn't it just like you just like regained like your entrance card to the humanity club?
Yeah, I mean it, and trust me, a fresh pair of socks, a fresh pair of underwear, a little bit of deodorant, and a hot shower will take
You
you to
got,
places where you think you
man,
couldn't have gone.
all right. So this storm came in and I bugged out Friday and it ended up hitting Friday, but I bugged out about Friday at about 9:30 in the morning. I think that's about when I messaged you when I said I was on the road. And I personally would have bugged out a little bit earlier, but I had some people that I care about down here that were kind of, well, they're longtime residents and they're homeowners and whatnot. And, they were worried that this wasn't going to be that big. And I don't know. I think there's a great big like psychological impact on having to leave your home, especially if you're a pet owner. Like
Oh yeah,
animal friends. I mean, it's really hard to find a place that accommodates you. So, after several head beatings and whatnot to get this all kind of set up, um, we ended up trucking and we ended up going about 100 miles north of me, almost straight north. And we went to Columbus, Texas. And the reason why we went there is because they had a pet friendly hotel. And it was packed. I personally couldn't get a room, but I was okay because I have a truck and a a camper trailer. So I pulled my ass into a Walmart parking lot and I hijacked some Jack in the Box Wi-Fi. And there was a Walmart right across the parking lot. There was a Whataburger across the street. There was 2 gas stations, and I did okay. I'm beyond okay. Other than being a little bit wet, I was very fine. I did not experience the pain that other people did. And
because when you sent me pictures, like I said, I think the first reaction out of my mouth was, well, wow, it looks like it could have been a lot worse where you were at.
Where I was at, and the picture I sent you is almost it almost belies the actual event inside the house, and basically I sent you a picture of the house that I live in and the house of the people that I rent from, which are very, very close proximity. You know, it's a house in the back half of the lot, and my house was okay. But my windows faced the direction that the storm came, and 150-mile winds did not pose any sort of barrier to my place, and blew my doors open, broke my doors open. When I got back, the way my doors were broken, I almost thought that somebody had broke into loot, but there was nothing gone in my place. It was just completely soaked. I pretty much think I got all of the rain into my house, into the little place I rent. People I rent from, their roof got all kinds of mangled, and falling things broke like PVC spigots sticking out of the ground, you know, for like hose bibs and stuff. So when the water came on, there's a bunch of fountains coming out of the ground.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So
and then,
what do they tell you from the county that you live in terms of like getting power and water restored?
I'm not impressed with my county by any means. I would say that I'm not impressed with my city's response. I'm not impressed with my county's response. And not impressed is the very nice way to say these motherfuckers don't have no fucking clue as to what they're doing down here. And yeah, it's been a mess. I am not happy with anybody. The only people that have been down here to give this area aid have been private people or the Salvation Army. And private people have brought down what's really needed in this area. It's been ice and gasoline, ice, water, and gasoline. And I don't know the guy's name. He's from Austin, Texas. He runs a lawn mowing business, and he had a truck and trailer with 50 cans of gas, and he came down here and he passed out as much gas as he could, didn't charge a person. I don't know. I wish I knew that man's name because I would give him as much business as I could, because obviously he's a businessman. Nobody runs around with 50 gallons of gas for nothing. Came down here out of the goodness of his heart, probably fought traffic, and had to buy gas probably to get home, which was not necessarily easy down here during this mess because everybody wants gas. You got to realize you come into a situation like this, and it's survival of the fittest. And honestly, one of my best friends right now, I'm telling you, this man is a man among men. He is somebody that I can't say enough about. Captain Gringo, good friend of the show, my friend Marcus. His family's in peril at this time. His home is in peril, and he had to evacuate as well. And I think he made the good call. And honestly, a couple of phone calls with him helped me convince some other people to evacuate. People were going to, stick around because, they were saying it was a category 1, and then 3 hours later, it's category 4.
Definitely. I think that whenever you see people in need, you do what you can.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you
definitely.
what.
And this.
Go right ahead.
Go ahead, Michael.
No. You go right ahead. I'm just
okay.
Nick, I'm telling you, I'm almost bewildered by what happened here in the last couple of days, and I would almost appreciate it more if you just asked me questions, because I could go on.
So here's the deal. All we're seeing on the news is how well prepared the people of Texas and the Gulf Coast in general are, as say compared to the people that were suffering under Hurricane Katrina in 2005.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely say that the people in Texas are far better prepared than the people in Katrina were. People of New Orleans and people of Hurricane Rita. Absolutely.
Okay. So do you think that this is more of a testament to the individual fortitude that these people possess, or do you think that it's in terms of a community where people saw what was possibly coming their way, they prepared, and then they were able to react?
I think there's a whole bunch of factors in this. Number one, my area is not a wealthy area by any means. I mean, like, look, the only chain store we got in my town is a Family Dollar. And Family Dollar don't come in anywhere that's got like a median income of like more than $32,000. So, I mean, like my town like hits the poverty level, right?
Right.
Pretty close. And, I don't know. I mean, like, we're not necessarily better off than anybody else, but we're definitely better off than some of the poor people. And I mean, when I say poor, I don't mean like, oh, poor people, they got smacked. I mean, like poor, they're economically impoverished. They resort to crime to resolve their economic issues. And, yeah, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of the economic prowess involved in it. I think there's a little bit of maybe of a cultural thing. I have noticed that they're really, in my interactions with people back here in town, and I've been back for, let's see, this thing hit on Friday. Saturday was pretty bad. Sunday was bad. And I was back here Sunday night. And I've seen nothing but goodness from the people of my city and people coming down here to help. I cannot say that I've seen anything in my experience in this area of anybody trying to like screw somebody. Now there is the occasion where somebody did bring some ice down, and you know, well, this person's going to take 40 bags of ice because they're in line in front of everybody. But I mean, that's just like normal greed. But I haven't seen any like incidences of looting in this town. I did talk to the two police officers in town that I respect. I did not talk to that dirty son of a bitch super cop who, honest to God, like, this is a perfect time to get rid of that son of a bitch. You know, he got hit by a fucking log or something. Yeah, you know, fuck him, dude. Seriously, fuck him. Fuck him and his fucking dope sniffing dog, you big fat curly haired motherfucker. Fucking baby Huey, that's what he is.
Oh man. Well, anyways, with that, what have you seen in terms of the county response?
I've not seen any county response except for a couple of trucks. And when I say trucks, I mean like gravel trucks or something hauling a bulldozer. Most of the response has been from my city or people who are engaged with my city and the Salvation Army. And I have to give props to the Salvation Army. They showed up here. They've done their utmost. It's not necessarily food that I would enjoy. I've had one Salvation Army meal. Actually, I shouldn't say I had it. I went and got it. I didn't actually need it. And I almost feel bad that I took that one meal, but it was almost, shit, man, this place got hit by a water-based nuclear bomb. And these are people that I know and people that I interact with on a daily basis. And it seems like my little town's center of activity, which would be like the gas station, you know, where people buy lottery tickets and coffee and Cokes and shit, has moved to right in front of City Hall where the National Guard and the Salvation Army is. And God bless the Salvation Army. Those people have showed up, and even if the food is not to my liking, it would be a hell of a lot better than eating toenails and rats.
So what have you seen in terms of the Texas National Guard that supposedly mobilized all 12,000 members of the state militia?
The Texas National Guard is in my town. There are 9 Humvees. One, I don't know exactly what the vehicle name is, but I would consider that to be the new and updated Deuce and a Half. There's
Okay,
one
so
of
it's
them.
probably a light medium tactical vehicle.
I don't know. It's not a Humvee and it's not like an MRAP. It looks like
A big cargo truck.
It's a cargo truck of some type.
Yeah, so this would be the LMTV made by the Oshkosh Corporation of Texas, by the way.
Yeah. It's totally an Oshkosh rig. Yeah, it's got that whole same setup that they've got.
Yeah, LMTV.
They didn't necessarily bring any supplies with them, other than like I could catch in the back of their rigs as I've driven by them. They had barrels of water, or I shouldn't say barrels. They had jerry cans of water, the tan cans, and then they had boxes of MREs. And I'm personally of the opinion that's to sustain them. That's not for anybody else in the town. That's to sustain them and the cops, as to, I guess, fight off the people here who get pissed off that, the Salvation Army doing their best serves like debris and stovetop stuffing. Because and by debris, I mean, it looked like some leaf shit that I could have picked out of my yard. And, hey, they're doing their best. I'm not on the Salvation Army's case. I think those people they are the cream of the crop. They came down there of their own volition. Not a one of them people are getting paid, and they're doing the best they can. And I totally appreciate it. What I'm pissed off about is my county and the lack of response from my county. I'm pissed off about the lack of response from my city. I'm not pissed off at my local cops, other than that dickhead super cop, which I swear to God, I hope to God a fucking power pole falls on that motherfucker. But other than him, everybody else has been awesome. I don't know, man. It's a weird situation. I mean, I'm not starving. I've got food, and honestly, we're like having to like raid freezers that are going to shit, right? Everybody that's been closed for 4 days now, like you open it up and all the ribs and the hamburgers and the chicken wings and shit are thawing. So right now we're eating great. We got like I don't know, like maybe like a 3-day buffet coming. When people like finally open their freezers and shit and cook it. So I mean, we're probably going to be eating like kings for the next 3 days. But after that, who knows, man?
So what about like staple items? What if you were to observe in your town? What's the availability of things like milk, juice, eggs, bread, cheese?
There is the availability of zero in my town. There is nothing available for you to purchase in my town. The only thing you can get is either what is the kindness of your fellow man or the largesse of the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, National Guard, whoever comes down and happens to drop off shit.
Okay. So when, business wise, what businesses that you have in your town were able to
are open here for 75 miles. There is no potable water and there's no power. So, I mean, by potable water, I mean, we have running water, but we don't know exactly what's going on with the water processing system, right? And so we don't know if it's got fucking cholera, whatever, anthrax, goddamn
flesh-eating bacteria.
It might have that, and I wash my hands several times in that shit, so whatever. But you can't have like a restaurant open to like serve fried chicken. Which Jesus H Christ, send me like fried chicken and dry underwear. That's exactly what I want. But yeah. We're not getting any of that, but I mean, you can flush a toilet. I took a shower today, like about an hour before the show. First shower since Friday. That was awesome. Don't brush your teeth with that water. I would use bottled water to brush your teeth.
So for example, you got Family Dollar or Dollar General, right? You got Family Dollar, I believe.
Family Dollar,
and they are closed up tighter than a drum, or what are we looking at here?
Drum with a police car in the parking lot, so nobody goes in and loots like salty snacks and whatever else the fuck they sell at Family Dollar.
Yeah, that's crazy, because that's a police officer who could be out there assisting. Let's talk about like recovery equipment.
But you can't throw it all on Family Dollar, because I'm straight up honest. There's a cop sitting in the parking lot of the bank.
No. Though you're going to expect things like that, right? You're going to expect the things that are of the public interest, like a bank. Okay.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. in a situation like this, Family Dollar is of the public interest, because if you got to like go out and like pick through something that's been rotting in your fridge for 4 days, and you got a starving kid, fuck yeah, you're going to break into that Family Dollar and chuck a rock through that window and go in there and get you a can of fucking Spam and some Enfamil. You're going to do that.
Not when they got Super Cop on the job.
No, dude, he's got a dog, man.
Hey, Super Cop's not afraid to put down an 87-year-old woman.
Dude, he will hurt her if she gets out of line. Ma'am, quit resisting. And that's a straight up quote from that motherfucker, right?
That is. I remember reading that.
Dude, you know what the best part is? Is when that old lady just took his cuffs and chucked them.
Yeah, well.
Cuffs outside. So, you know what? I'm going to put this on YouTube tonight. We're going to have a good title, and it's going to be Seadrift response after Harvey or something. So in case this dipshit actually looks at YouTube and he sees it, maybe he'll listen and learn exactly what kind of a cocksucker he is, because he's not here for the community. He's not being any kind of help to the community. I'm going to tell you what, we got 2 other reserve cops, and then we got the police chief and another cop here who have been excellent. They have been community stewards, I would dare say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I look at it is you need certain tools and certain equipment out there, right? You need fuel, you need generators, you need chainsaws, you need people with big trucks with chains and hooks. You need to be able to start clearing debris. Have you seen anything happening in terms of, debris being cleared?
Well, my city owns a couple of bulldozers and backhoes and whatnot, and every street is passable in my city. Now, there are some lines down on the ground, and I honest to God, I think they're phone lines. They're not actually like power lines, because you can drive over them and nobody gives a shit. Because honestly, nobody gives a shit about a hardwired phone line anymore. So I mean,
how many people actually have them?
Right. That's a good question, right? So other than that, no, every street in my city is passable. Coming into my city, there's a couple of places as of like yesterday that had running water that was near river action. I'm talking about 2.5 feet running, whatever they say, like, 12 knots or something like that. That water's moving, and it'd move a car. And I actually had to drive through something on that on my way back, and I had to get up into the middle lane and actually floor it, and came up on some dude's bumper, and he was about to hit his brakes, and I laid on the horn. You keep on going, son of a bitch. I got a trailer and a truck here. So I made it through that, and everything was fine. I had no problems in my travel. And I'll tell you what, I mean, you start thinking about that. Boy, there's a lot of things that you could, once you get to your destination, once you've stopped driving and you've figured out, okay, this is where I'm parking for the night. And that's for people who don't have, like a hotel room or something, or maybe even somebody with a camper trailer like me, who may not have, access to some place to go and set up, water and power and in a place to dump sewer. You start looking for things and you start operating on a different level. And I'll tell you what, the greatest thing in my life has been being able to be back here in my house, even though it may be all kinds of screwed up or something, but I can take a crap in the morning and not have to walk across a big rainy street and then like deal with the angry Haji guy who expects me to spend $2.79 after I took a crap at like 5:30 in the morning or something,
Yeah.
And I mean, not gross, but I mean, seriously, everything is gross down here right now. I mean, like, look, I do not drink the fucking water. And I mean, that's not just from my town. That's for, all the way down south of Corpus Christi, all the way up to Galvatraz,
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying, the reason I'm asking is how many large trees did you see that like required clearing that were laying on top of homes or vehicles in your area?
On top of homes or vehicles, I would say probably about 25 to 30. Like laying across streets, none. Because my city's been pretty proactive about keeping the streets clear. But in yards and lots, I'd say the number of trees down is easy over 500.
Wow. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you're going to have people that are out there, using some heavy equipment to get these things up and out of the way.
and it's already starting. I've already seen a group of people who honestly they may be just people out going out and picking up make work, and they did it the right way. They came out, 5 guys, all wearing the same colored T-shirt, didn't have any kind of like description. They came out and dealt with an old lady and moved everything off of her lot, gang bang that shit, and it was done in 35 minutes. And this woman now can get into her driveway and everything. I have no idea what it cost, but there wasn't any kind of screaming or anything, because I was up personally on a roof all day. I've personally tarped 3 roofs and fixed like 4 different people's PVC so we can get, because I mean we have running water here, but fences fall down and you got that spigot in the backyard and it smashes that spigot, and then when the power comes on, you got this shit spewing out. You've got no pressure in your house because you're being bled right there, and then plus you're like flooding your yard even more. So a lot of these people didn't have anything; they just had to shut it back off until they cap these things or repair it. So I mean, I've been doing my little bit part that I could help with, some of the older people around town, and I don't know, man. I mean, it's a lot different living down here and this happened than like if I lived in Houston and it happened, or even somewhere just a little bit north of me, like Brazoria County, where there's a significantly larger population. I think I might be like restricted to helping like my neighbors, not somebody who's like 12 houses down from me. At that
Right.
point.
So what have you seen in terms of like, for example, Houston is undergoing a curfew to prevent looting. What are you seeing in your county?
My town is under a curfew right now, and our curfew extends from dusk till dawn. And that means you are restricted to your domicile, which would be your house, your yard, your driveway. If you're moving something out of your driveway, you can step into the street, but you are not going out and riding a bike and cruising. You are not, taking a lap around town in the little Guido mobile and seeing what the hell's up around here. No, that is not happening. We got the army here. We got cops with automatic weapons, and fucking Super Cop got a dog, dude. Don't even go out after dark. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, that's crazy.
It is.
When do you expect, like, for example, if you have your 2 gas stations that you got in town, you got the captain's quarters, and what about like the small businesses? Are they all shut down, or
everything is shut down? The only power here is the power you make. That means you got to have a generator in your backyard. If you don't have a generator, you got nothing. You got the only power you possibly have is whatever debris you can collect to boil water, or maybe you got a propane or something. That's it. There's nothing here. This is Gilligan's Island with power lines down.
Wow, that's horrible. What have you seen in terms of people that are acting a little shady, a little sketchy? Because there's a big problem with meth in your area.
Dude, we make some of the finest methamphetamine available in the entire United States in my area.
Yeah, but you guys do it offshore, so that doesn't really count.
Oh, sometimes, but I don't know how to say that in Vietnamese. But anyhow, no, I mean, like, I haven't seen anything, but I'll tell you what, a lot of people, my town is, it's got a core contingent of residents, and then it's got like a weekend group that comes down. And honestly, a lot of the weekend group is down right now, and they're inspecting their, weekend homes and stuff. And, well, honestly, what are they going to go back to in the middle of Houston? I mean, everything's, Houston floods if they get 4 inches of rain from like 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. That city floods, and it's fucking impassable. But you get 20 inches in 3 hours? What the hell, man?
Well, I had read that the expected annual rainfall for Houston is 45 inches, and they got that in 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's something just incredible like that. I mean, I've heard the number is twice the volume of Lake Tahoe, which would be like 11 trillion gallons of water.
Right. So when you take a look at it, the drainage and the hydrology of your area? Is
Dude,
it unloading directly into the Gulf, or is it going like through an intercoastal and then heading out into the Gulf?
well, I live on a bay, so pretty much everything we got is dumping into a bay. But I live in an area with farming, so there's a lot of chemical runoff, and honestly, right now was like cotton harvest season, and I don't know if anybody's ever seen cotton harvested, but it's a great big field, and then they roll these, all the harvested cotton up into great big barrels, basically, that are wrapped in saran wrap. And the way I understand that cotton is paid is they don't get the farmer doesn't get paid for the price. He'll get quoted a price, and then if it once it passes the inspection and the processing, he gets his money. But I mean, just the nearest farm near me has got at least 450 barrels of cotton just sitting there in the mud, soaking up rain and God knows whatever. Because I mean, seriously, half the mud here smells like poop right now. Everything is so wet and almost getting that kind of moldy smell that everything kind of like has like a half-ass stench of cat piss on it.
Yeah. Now, what have you guys been warned about? Like bacteria in the water. Obviously you guys are boiling anything that comes out of your tap right now. But what about
comes out of my tap? I've got 15 cases of bottled water that I picked up before I came down, and honestly, I mean, I was 100 miles away and supplies were getting shy there. So I mean, I really got to give a shout out to the Walmart that's in Columbus, Texas. And a woman named Arata who worked there, once I get a minute, I'm actually going to call the Walmart home office and give this woman some props or something, because she really helped me while I was there. I picked up a bunch of supplies. I'm a single guy, so I mean, like, straight up honest, man, I could survive on, just give me whatever, and I can make it. I mean, I'm not necessarily picky. I mean, there's things I would like, like dry underwear. Fucking dry underwear is from God. Dry underwear and rubber boots are from God. That's like a straight up gift of the Almighty right there. But, I mean, like, shit, man, you got to have a cup of coffee in the morning. And I mean, you ain't going to die if you don't have a cup of coffee in the morning, but it makes you feel human. And, I mean, my buddy today we got the generator fired up and cooled down the fridge and threw some beers in the fridge. And I was roofing and, knocking up tarps all day on roofs, and I'm good and sunburnt and I'm tired. And when I came off that last roof and came back, my buddy gave me a cold beer, and it was a shitty Miller Lite. But that cold beer made me feel like $1 million, like humanity was right around the corner. Like civilization was going to pop up again. And, that may be a big fugazi right there. That may be the last cold beer I get in a good long time, but it was really nice to have one. And, well, I'll tell you what, you drink 2 cold beers, them warm beers go down really good after that.
Oh, certainly.
I'm going to drink me another warm beer.
Yeah. So,
sponsored by Miller Lite and not American Electrical Power.
Oh, there you go. So with that being said, what do you expect in terms of have you seen or heard about any fatalities in your area, or has this been largely able to be avoided just due to the storm track?
I've not heard of any fatalities in my direct area. And by my direct area, I mean within like about 50 miles of my home. But I have heard that there was, quote unquote, looting as the eye of the storm hit in Corpus Christi. And it was looting of an occupied residence, which to me personally is a fucking home invasion. And the homeowner made a headshot at about 50 feet and dropped that motherfucker, and he's no longer looting anybody. Anybody whose generator, gas tank, battery that was in that dude's site is okay for a little bit on that one. I don't like the fact that the news calls it a looter, considering there was a person in the house
Yeah, that's definitely a home invasion.
But looting, I guess, is the term of the day.
No, looting only happens during a natural disaster, or the Los Angeles riots.
Well, and I mean, like, this has given me like a new perspective on looting at some point. And like, all right, so this town's kind of fucked. I mean, really. And I mean, luckily we're like a hunting and drinking town with a small fishing problem. So a lot of people here have a chest freezer that's full of like deer meat and shrimp and whatever fish they got. So we're okay on food to a point. I don't know, man. I can see that, maybe after 3 or 4 days here, and if we don't get any kind of like serious help, and I don't mean like serious help for me, but I'm in a town where a lot of people come to retire. And I mean, like 2 of the people I helped today they're older people. There's no fucking way they're going to get up on a roof and like manhandle a, 20 by 30 tarp in a 40-mile-per-hour wind. It ain't just going to happen. So, I mean, these people either get wet or somebody comes up and, helps them, or they got to like, sell a kidney to get the cash to hire somebody, because that's what it's going for right now. I mean, there's a lot of people advertising for people to come and tarp your house and fix your PVC and shit like that in your yard. And they want $700 to do that shit. They'll come up there and work like 3 hours.
Damn. Yeah. When you see the older folks in the neighborhood, I mean, do you guys at least know who they are, know where they're at, so that way you can go ahead and assist if as soon as they get up and moving?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a small enough town where people keep an eyeball on each other. And I mean, really, like I said earlier, the center of town has moved from, the gas station where everybody buys lottery tickets, coffee, gets gas, and, yaps and bullshits, to right in front of the city hall where, all the bullshit's set up, the Salvation Army and the city guys and, the cops and everything right in front of City Hall. So, I mean, I've seen that, and honestly, I think a lot of people just went for the Salvation Army meal just to have that community with people that they know, an opportunity to run into people that they know. And honestly, I've had people that I would call friends, acquaintances, however you want to put it. They ain't come back into my place, and pulled a couple of bongs with me and talked about their, life troubles or anything, but they've stopped by and, hey, how you doing? How's your house? Blah, blah, blah. You need anything? You got water? You got baby wipes? And, I mean, we got to talk about the supplies you kind of like come in handy, for a situation like this. But I mean, there's good concern amongst the friends here, but, I want to say that like all is dependent on the availability of life's necessities.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Do you feel that there was enough forewarning in advance of this storm that people were able to go out and make their purchases, or at least be able to have some kind of stock on hand and secure it in a way that if they had to evacuate when they came back, that it would be there, be ready?
I had basically 5 days notice that this was coming. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean I spent 5 days preparing, because honestly, I live on the Gulf, and them dirty some bitch weathermen don't know what the hell they're talking about half the time. So, it's heading towards me. It's not heading towards me. This is one of the very few times that it's been heading towards me that it actually hit me.
Right. Well, and you've been in this area for how long? We're talking, what, over 10 years?
I've been here about 10 years, yeah.
Right.
And I've had a couple of close calls, but nothing bad. And, straight up honest, I told a couple of people, like, this is the year, dude. We're going to get smacked this year. And I had no idea how bad we were going to get smacked.
So right now, what are you looking at for your weather outlook right now? Are you still getting rain, or are you guys looking at the storm track moving and taking it far over towards Louisiana?
Today was the first day of no rain and no constant drizzle and everything, and which translates into no wet clothes. And
that's a good thing.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I mean, look, I made like a half-assed jackass YouTube video. just basically of the damage to my yard. I stood in one spot and made like a panoramic view of just what's in my yard. And it got 500 views, which is straight up honest. That's way more than we get on the show and all that. I mean, it was a 34-second video, and I kind of like half-ass joked at the end, send us some dry underpants. Man, that ain't no joke, dude. You know, like you sit there and like wet underpants, wet socks, wet tennis shoes for a couple of days. It takes something out of you physically. So I'm going to tell you, man, dry underpants and rubber boots are a gift from the Almighty. And I mean, like right now, I mean, I'm wearing rubber boots that come up right to my knees, and I ain't going to take them off until, you know, for the next couple of days, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I mean, I take them off and go to bed, but you know, I got a tarp on my bed because my bed got soaked because my place got just absolutely gangbanged by the rain, you know, because my doors blew open and it was facing the direction the wind was coming in. So my place is completely soaked.
Okay. So when it comes to like structural integrity, the wind didn't sound like it beat you down, but everything you have is pretty much a loss due to the weather.
Well, that's just this place. I mean, this is a different town, man. And I'll tell you what, there's trailers that are all just tore up and I mean, all right. So there's that $6.99 carport deal. And a lot of people buy that and then park the trailer under it because it saves on electricity for your air conditioner and all that. I've seen a bunch of those carports that are just mangled and look like they just got picked up by somebody who picked up like a ball of tinfoil and chucked it. And then I've seen some of them that actually stayed. I've seen something that just blew my mind. It was a camper trailer that was actually wrapped up inside one of those carports, and it looked like a burrito.
Wow!
Like honestly, like I looked at it, and I don't know how that person got out of there.
That's pretty rough.
They were inside it. A lot of trailers on their side. A lot of boat storage is destroyed, with, you know, full of boats because these people are out of town and all that, and this is a toy for them and whatever. But you know, easy couple $1 million in boat damage. You go down. I mean, this is a fishing village. You know, so it means we got shrimp and crab and oysters going on, you know, year round down here. There's probably about 20 boats that are sunk or capsized in our marina, and maybe 10 boats that have been actually chucked up out of the water and then damaged as they hit the ground. And I mean, these are people's livelihoods. This is their business that just.
So we're talking about like shrimping boats or crabbing boats.
Shrimp boats, crab boats, oyster boats, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, it's not really anybody's pleasure boat. Because, this ain't a pleasure boat kind of town, you know. I mean, people come down here, they come down here to shoot birds or shoot ducks or something like that, or, you know, get some big-ass fish out of the water. They're not down here to, like, you know, park in the bay and enjoy the wind and shit like that.
Right. Well, you know, what do you think is going to take to get this town and your community back on its feet?
I think Big Papa Trump got to come in here and, like, start throwing some money around. And by throwing money around, I mean he's got to fund the big repairs that have to come in here. He's got to provide for some infrastructure restoration, and that is going to cost some bucks.
Well, we're gonna start the hashtag with "Make Texas Dry Again."
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Send Texas dry underpants.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, like seriously, I ain't joking about that. The dry underpants is like a fucking joy. You start wearing like wet underpants for 3 days, and it's just not fun. It's not.
It's the same thing with socks, man. Same thing. You wear wet socks for 3 days, and you're going to develop some pretty nasty immersion foot, trench foot.
And so, I mean, that like is you know, kind of brings up like a little bit of maybe of a discussion we should have, like. What should somebody have as a preparative measure for this?
So, you know, that's one of the things I think I get a lot of questions on is specifically what should you do in terms of, you know, food, water, and equipment. The biggest thing that you can do is, number one, you could have something that is at least watertight as a storage container. If you don't have like a dry bag, and most people that go out on a boat tend to carry stuff in a dry bag. If you don't have one of those, you need to get a method, whether it's a tough box or it's a dry bag. You want to have something where you can put your things that you're going to need.
Point, if I mean this all stuff starts getting into money. At that point, get yourself a Rubbermaid container and some duct tape and just tape the shit out of that thing.
No, if you can, like I said, there are containers out there that are purposely built to keep water out.
But man, there's some bucks, and I'm gonna tell you what. I think a lot of the deficits that occur in the planning and the preparation for here, and also in the evacuations, is directly an influence of the economics and people's economic stature. And do they have? Man, I'll tell you, it could be a killer for somebody to go out and spend $50 on supplies.
Yeah, but if that $50 is what's going to be able to be the difference between you eating or you getting a change of clothes when you really need it, right, is that $50 you're going to mess, or is it $50 you're going to say that was well spent?
But see, you're like thinking in a wrong direction. Down here, it may be they don't have the $50. The $50 isn't there for them to go out and buy a couple of tarps and some seriously baby wipes, bleach, the Purell hand sanitizers in them, either in a big bottle if you're like only planning for you and your family, or itty bitty the single servings. And I'll tell you what, in a situation like this, single servings are badass, because you don't have to open up a big old can of something or a big old box of something and have everything just subject to the fucking rampant moisture that's everywhere. I mean, everything is goddamn wet down here.
Did you get heat to go with it today, or is it just still a little windy?
Got up to a balmy 85, and
that's gotta feel horrible.
It wasn't actually too bad because we had 40 fucking mile per hour winds.
Well, I mean, yeah, then at least you actually feel like you're getting some movement of the air.
Well, you get a little bit of movement of the air, and then when you're up on the roof with trying to like either throw a plywood or a tarp or something, it acts like a goddamn sail or a parachute. You got to be careful about that. I mean, you throw your ass right off the roof in a heartbeat, and then you end up off a 12-foot drop onto the goddamn. Hope to God you hit grass or some squishy muddy water that we got around here. Please do not land in the goddamn driveway, because who's going to come and take you to the hospital for your broken hip?
Yeah, well, which hospital is open?
Bingo. Now you start going. Now you start answering questions. So, I mean, there's the obvious, danger in what is it? Perdition of, the storm that nails us. But then there's the shit, man. What happens if you just twist a fucking ankle walking around carrying like some, bust ass fence out of your yard to put it in a pile? You're right. Not actually saving anything. You're just kind of like doing some cleanup. And I mean, this ground is wet. I mean, I can stand out and take a step out. And I mean, I'm about 200 pounds, and I step in, and the shit almost sinks to my ankles, dude.
Damn. What are you seeing in terms of like the nature impact? Are you guys seeing the floating gators coming out of the Gulf? And
there's been several reports of gators in town. I've not seen one. I've not seen any sort of anything unusual. I've not seen any fish in the ditches or anything like that. And I think that's just because these ditches are absolutely fucking toxic. Any standing water around here is absolutely fucking toxic. There's places where the mud smells like poo, which I'm going to guess that, we don't have basements here. We don't really get
your water table's quite high.
It's quite high, and you don't necessarily dig your plumbing down far below the ground, to avoid the frost or anything. So, you add, a portion of that 11 trillion gallons of water to this little tiny town's, water processing system, and the sewers are going to back up. So there have been some houses that have like the sewer back up, and if you were near one of those like, I don't know what the hell it is. It's almost like a vent system for the sewers. That blew out, but the city guys here have done their absolute best, and they've basically satisfied everybody. I mean, I don't know exactly what the word is on the potability of the water, but motherfucker, I took a shower in it and I feel great.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not necessarily something that hits you right away.
Well, I mean, if I get Giardia in like in 2 days, I'm gonna drive my ass back to Columbus and go die at that fucking Walmart parking lot or something. But
give them something to do for you.
Right. So I mean, like in a situation like this, if you get you have the luxury of being able to evacuate prior to it, because honestly, I'm gonna say the ability to evacuate prior to this is a luxury. But just because of the economic status. I mean, dude, there's people sitting around here. They got like eighth of a tank of gas sitting in their truck, in their car or whatever. Where the fuck is it going to get? I mean, like seriously, I pulled a camper trailer with my truck and I got 5 miles a gallon. I got a 26 gallon tank. I got like 100 miles and 17 gallons. And I start looking around and shit, no gas, diesel only. Jesus, what do you start doing?
Yeah, well, hopefully you've had some 10-gallon fuel tanks on the side of your truck there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know. I'm not driving a fucking Land Rover. I got a 98 Chevy that's packed full of shit in the back, dude. I mean, like honestly, I got everything out of my house. So my truck is sitting heavy, my camper's sitting heavy, and there's only so much you can carry.
Yeah, certainly. Well, Michael, we got to go ahead. We got to get some firearm safety in here before the end of the evening.
All right. First rule of firearm safety: every firearm is loaded until you physically and visually ensure that it is not loaded, and you've also cleaned any sort of mud, rust, whatever sort of debris that came from the goddamn flood into that thing. Rule number 2 is keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Do not cover anything you do not wish to destroy. Rule number 3, know what's your target, know what's beyond your target. Remember that your target may sink into the goddamn ground because it's got all kinds of mud in it. And the 4th rule, the most important rule, the rule that should be first on everybody's list, is keep the booger hook off the bang switch until you are ready to discharge the weapon at the looter trying to take your fucking big screen TV out of your house in the middle of the fucking rain, knowing it ain't going to work when he gets to plug it back in. So shoot that motherfucker twice.
just in case.
Just in case. As the great Tom Savini said, leave no twitchers.
There you go. Well, you know what? We want to definitely, give a big shout out to the people of coastal Texas.
I got to give a shout out to a couple of people, because even though shit's all kinds of fucked up down here, there's all kinds of things going on. I got a good buddy in Montana right now who just got the alert to evacuate because of that goddamn huge forest fire that's going on in Montana. So
yeah, that's not getting any play right now.
Don't get burnt. Get your ass out. I got to give a shout out to Captain Gringo. Man, Gringo, I can't thank you enough. You gave me wisdom that I couldn't pay for. Everybody who gave me a call, gave me a text message, I thank you. If I didn't get back to you in time, I apologize. It's shitty. It's a shitty situation. I do what I can right now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Michael, we're glad that you're okay and that you guys are going to get back to rebuilding quickly. If you got it in you, folks, donate to the Salvation Army. They can take your money and they can turn it around.
I'll tell you what. Pray. Just pray. I don't care if you're religious, whatever. Just say something to the monkey god in the sky for 77983. This whole area, this whole Gulf Coast is fucked up. About 40 miles south of me is Rockport and Fulton, and I'm telling you that those people would have wished they got hit by a North Korean nuclear bomb.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah. Get some fire and fury over there.
It's all kinds of screwed up. So, I mean, what I would say to prepare yourself for something like this, things that I say that for a similar situation, tall rubber boots, baby wipes, duct tape, tarps, hand sanitizer, bleach, and as much water as you can hide. And then food wise, I get stuff that you can open and eat, straight out of the can, or something that only takes like boiling water, say like stovetop or, minute rice or something like that. And shit, man, hide some dry toilet paper too. That's a pretty nifty thing.
Yeah, if you can, keep it in your glove box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, straight up honest, I keep three rolls in my truck just because, it's a big truck and I'm a big dude. So
yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, Michael, like I said, I'm glad you're doing well, comparatively to the people all the way across the state, and that you guys are going to get your town up and running again, probably a lot quicker than some of the other folks are out there.
I think get up and running a hell of a lot faster than Houston, which is just underwater. I mean, prayers for everybody in the greater Houston area, prayers for my family in Brazoria County. I mean, there's people I love out there. They're getting swamped too. Everybody on the Gulf Coast is getting swamped, but yeah, everybody stay safe.
Well, and here we got a couple minutes left. We definitely want to give a shout out to Jules, helping us get connected tonight. We had a little bit of Skype difficulties, and Jules comes through.
Yeah, Jules. Yeah, I mean, I like to say Jules is the man, but she's the boss lady. I mean, nothing runs here without Jules. So listen, don't donate nothing to Seadrift. Donate some shekels to Jules. Hit the Amazon link on the UCY homepage. Throw a couple of bucks your way on the PayPal. Get somewhere else. Everybody, thank you so much. Like, well, Harvey suck.
Patriots